Don't panic. It's okay. We've got plenty of fuel. It's just not being able to get to the garages on time because we have a shortage of lorry drivers, don't we? Yeah, okay. Brilliant. Right, let's talk about it. But first, I just want to tell you about this naughty little stereo of mine, which is an aftermarket thing. Made me break my window. Yeah, that window there. I'll tell you what happened. This actually knocks out the immobilizer system, and it puts the whole system to sleep, and it won't wake up when you use the little pipper on the key. Yeah, it's a wiring issue in the back here, but this vehicle has a radio ECU. Okay, so that scrambles it a little bit. Unless I put the original back, that will always do the same thing. So yeah, I've been using the door lock on the side of the vehicle until it went wrong. Yeah, so I drilled it out, and guess what? It wouldn't let me in. Tried all sorts of things, rods through this window to pull the door handle, still wouldn't be able to get in. Okay, we've tried all the little tricks that we all know. Yeah, and that's all of us in my workshop. And what do we have to do at the end of the day is pop the window. Yeah, pop the window. I hate doing that because that means that type of window there is really hard to replace. Yep, so anybody who's owned a Land Rover for a while that's been a canvas top, you know what it's like when you get it vibrating. Well, you get used to it, don't you? Yeah, so that's one of those things. Yeah, shit happens, doesn't it? Yeah, so shit's happening again, isn't it, in the UK? If it's not one thing, meat problems, supply of meat, supermarkets are going to be shortage of labour, lorry drivers shortage. Guess what? Shortage of lorry drivers again. And we're not getting fuel to the forecourts in time. What's happened? People are panicking. They're panic buying this time, yeah, because they don't trust what the radio said, do they? Yeah, and they literally did say today, don't panic, it's okay, we've got plenty of fuel. It's just not where you want it to be. Yeah, so this is an interesting situation. I've now just filled up. My Friday routine is to go and fill up at the end of the day, and then I've got fuel for the weekend and for the next week for my commute. Okay, so I do actually have spare fuel, and I hope you do too, stored away, which I cycle. If I've got 2 jerry cans, that'll be 1 week, and then I'll fill them up, and then I'll go and fill the tank up. So I'm always alternating the fuel sources just to keep it fresh. Yeah, so I've got myself a few jerry cans, yeah, and I'm okay. But I thought what I'll do is I'll go and get some fuel for the day. Tesco's, no fuel, no diesel, no unleaded. Morrison's, long queues. In fact, people have been waiting that long. They were dishing out water to customers and cashing in on it. Man, the sales must be pretty good today of fuel, yeah. And then what I did was go to the Shell garage, no, sorry, BP, not Shell, BP, which still have fuel, but it is more expensive, £1.40 a litre. Ouch. Yeah, and they had fuel, okay, and a short queue. So I thought, yeah, sit in there, fill up, be okay, have a little bit of a giggle, yeah, literally have a giggle, and yeah, check out what's going on. Because I've heard rumours, you probably have too, of people filling up jerry cans and being really selfish, but I have not witnessed that today. We went to fill up the works vans this morning. I didn't witness any of that, and today with my own personal, I didn't see anybody going overboard with it. But you've seen it on the internet, haven't you? People filling up plastic bags with petrol. Oh, the Americans again. This is crazy, isn't it? Yeah. But not seen it yet, okay? So people are topping up just in case. And yeah, I don't blame them at all. Don't blame them at all. Because that's the first thing you do, isn't it? Top up your tank, make sure you got enough fuel. Yeah, and then be very sparing with what you use until this blows over. Because they're hoping it will. Because they will eventually fill up the tanks in the forecourts and it will all start all over again. But I find it highly suspicious that if it's not supermarket drivers shortages but the fuel's okay, then suddenly we've got fuel shortages because they don't have enough ADR drivers. Now there is a difference between a driver, an Arctic truck driver who will pull a reefer or a refrigerated truck or a curtain side to a supermarket and unload, yeah, and a guy who is a tanker driver because they are ADR trained. Okay, there's more training involved because they have to handle fuel. It's a more responsible job, and of course they're not going to let newbies on to doing that job until they've got their qualifications. Okay, it also comes down to HGV mechanics like myself will have at least one person with an ADR qualification, so they understand how to deal with fuel tankers. Okay, there's a lot of regulations involved in it, yeah. So unless the ADR drivers are jumping ship and going to work for companies like Tesco's and Aldi's and Morrison's and Asda's that may well be paying a lot more, which is a possibility, suddenly we have a deficit, don't we? Which is interesting. It's interesting. I haven't got my pulse, or should I say my finger on the pulse, but all I'm doing is surmising in my head, thinking of the possible situations that could be. The only other thing it could be, yeah, because the supply's been good up to now, is that there's a stranglehold somewhere, or we've been hacked, or there isn't enough supply to the garages in general. Okay, so I don't know, and you probably don't know. To read on the internet, maybe you might get an idea, or you might just be sent down the wrong rabbit hole, yeah, and thinking you might know and you don't. Okay, so I'll put my hands up and say I know nothing, because I don't, yeah, which is probably the best way to be. All you can do is adapt to the situation in hand and have at least some preps ready, just in case things start to become prolonged. Now, if there is such a deficit of lorry drivers, that means they will be trained, and of course they have this fast tracking system to get drivers trained to drive Arctic rigs, which is dangerous, I think. But of course, because ADR is highly qualified, that means that these some of these drivers won't be replaced anytime soon. So what's the solution to this? Do we have to use less fuel, or are they going to bring the army in? This is an interesting one. I'd like to see this. Are they going to bring in RAF tanker fuel drivers to work on the roads to bring the fuel to the garages? Don't know. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? But in the meantime, yeah, guys, you're going to have to do what they've done in the 1970s, which was either car share or be very economical with the fuel that you use until this blows over. And hopefully it will do. Maybe next week by Friday it'll blown over and we all can go down the Winchester Tavern for a pint. Yep, that's the best optimal or optimistic solution, isn't it? But I don't think people trust what's going on at all. They do not trust the government. They do not trust the media. When they say don't panic, what's the first thing you do? Start to run, don't you? Yeah. So watch this space, see what happens. I know we're all experiencing it now. If you haven't seen it, then you haven't been out. But you go to every garage in the United Kingdom, they've got queues outside, or they're already out of fuel. Yeah. The hometown which I live in, like I say, Tesco's, no fuel. Yeah. The place I work in, there were massive queues absolutely everywhere, and it was compounded by the fact there was an RTA around about 2 o'clock, which shut all the roads off. Yeah, brilliant. Huh? So nothing's moving at all in that area. Yeah. Obviously, like I've told you before in my vlogs, I'll take back roads and all that sort of thing and make sure I have got enough fuel. Yeah. Because my window's broken, I've taken all the containers out of my vehicle. I've taken everything out of here, and I'm running on half a tank, which is sufficient enough. So 35 quid's worth chucked in the car now. That's enough to see me through. 3/4 of a tank actually lasts me a week, including the weekends. Yeah, so we're good. Economical car. Yeah, woe betide people who've got massive four-wheel drives that they depend on, that are very thirsty, because that's the first thing that stops us in a crisis. We're not at a crisis point yet, and hopefully we won't get there, but there's always that chance that we might, isn't there? Have to wait and see. Yeah, but guys, always be optimistic. Always be optimistic. There are always alternatives, and things don't always last that long, and I hope the government's little scams that they have don't last that long, and they are replaced with sensible people who know what they're doing, because I don't think they do. I think they're all in the shit, aren't they? Like we are. Yeah. So the chaos continues, yeah, the circus continues, the shit show carries on, and yeah, I don't know about you, but I get a little bit of buzz out of this. I shouldn't say it, but when things get a little bit chaotic, the brain starts to wake up, because it's not the norm, it's not the routine. Therefore, you're having to think of the solution. So your brain, a bit more blood flow in the right places, is going, yeah, okay, we'll work this, and this. We'll do this, make sure everybody knows about it. All right, all the vehicles at work are filled up, just in case, got the jerry cans full, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying, don't you? Yeah, it's that little bit of excitement, that little bit of a buzz, that little bit of adrenaline. And a lot of people like that. They like this type of chaos because they thrive in it. Others don't. Others can't cope with it. They like a nice, stable, run-of-the-mill flow, don't they? Yeah, but we're not allowed that at the moment, are we? So be prepared for anything. You just don't know what's coming down the pipeline, do you? Yeah. Well, unless you're in the sewage and somebody pulls the chain on the toilet, then you know what you're going to get, don't you? Yep. And that old fan certainly is getting some of that hit onto the blades, isn't it, at the moment? Yep. But it'll be all right, guys. Anyway, I'll see you down in your Winchester Tavern. Make sure you pour me a pint of IPA and we'll all be good Friday. Yeah. All right. See you later.